Welcome back to the next part of my Fire Emblem walkthrough, which is the Sealed Forest Snare battle.
We are now.
I'm not going to go through any spoilers, just to make sure that you don't have as many story interruptions while watching this walkthrough. There may be a few unavoidable ones, unfortunately, because I'm not omnipotent. And after a certain point, spoilers will be impossible, but by then you'll probably figure out what you need to do.
I am great.
Or, you know, you'll be aware enough of the story that the spoilers won't matter.
Thanks.
So you've got a very interesting map this time around, because you've got normal enemies, and you've got monsters to deal with. Now, depending on the makeup of your team, you can pretty much drag whoever you want along for the ride. It doesn't really matter at this point. And I'm not saying that because I'm being flippant. It really doesn't. Actually, you know what? Now, the victory is to defeat the enemy commander, and your defeat conditions, well, all your units fall.
Look there, demonic beast.
Now, I'm skipping that because you're going to find that your opposition, well, is in two parts. One is distance. If you're not very prepared, your entire team is going to be swarmed by monsters. It's more efficient to pick one route and then go for it. Whichever route you pick is really up to you. If your characters are strong enough, it really shouldn't matter which route you pick, but it never hurts to decide which route you want ahead of time. Now, you might notice that, yeah, there are two very nice items on both sides, but again, if you really only have the power and strength to go for one route, go for one route.
Stay focused.
Now, I am going to have everyone move up to this route. Now, the reason why I'm having people only focus on one route is because, again, you've got monsters on one side, and they are not to be trifled with if you're not ready. Now, you do have a forest or a thicket, or a mix of both. That is actually a lot easier to go through if, and I mean this seriously, if you have flyers. If you don't have flyers, and there is a non-zero chance that you don't make a beeline for the thicket. You're gonna find it's rather difficult to get everybody through. Now, I know I'm contradicting myself because I said don't take both routes, but, I mean, my characters are really strong, and I'm playing on normal casual, like a scrub, so whatever.
Oh, as for me.
But remember, the goal at the end of the day is to defeat the commander, so if you really can't conserve... If you really can't afford to waste time, just focus on a path. Defeat any units that might come your way, and just keep marching on ahead. This is not... Fire Emblem is not a game about showing off how much bravado you have. It's a game about strategy, well thought out tactics, and of course, characters who are best able to fulfill the requirements of those tactics. Now, because Ingrid can and will, and again, this is one of the reasons why Flyer is so good, she can fly through. Now, I know I've been saying flyers a lot, but please do not forget that if you're using flyers, archers, such as this mysterious soldier, will take down any flyer if they're not at a sufficiently high level to dodge attacks.
This was beneath me.
Or possibly reduce the amount of damage taken from an attack. It's a non-negotiable, really, because you should... Well, A, you shouldn't be charging on ahead anyway if you're not ready. And B, well... You should already be aware of weaknesses for units right now. For example, the weapon triangle of swords, axes, lances. You should know that by now. You should have some abilities that help, and also have some battalions that can really help turn the tide if you're in a tough pitch. But I'm just going to really ignore all that and move on ahead.
Give it your all.
Now you can see that I chose to make Dorothea a dancer this instance, but again, that really doesn't change much, if anything.
Humiliating.
Your defeat was inevitable.
Should I have held back?
You know, these other units will try and... But I would also like to remind everyone that, yes, I am a scrub playing on normal casuals, which is why I can afford to take risks like this. Most other people couldn't, so...
Can't get ahead.
Especially on harder difficulties, or if you're going through this game literally one step at a time, so...
Fool challenges me.
Caution is needed.
Oh, it looks like Petra took a bit more damage from that arrow than I thought. Again, why you should not underestimate archers at any point. Now, actually, Ingrid is in a good enough position to take on our new enemy.
Too slow.
Defenseless, are we?
Now I'm going to skip this scene again to avoid spoilers.
That could only...
More spoilers. And now we'll start
Sir.
the second half of the battle. Now the objectives have largely not been changed. You've still got the enemy commander to defeat. Your opponents have, well, respawned to some extent. And all remaining characters will now meet you at the center of the map. I don't know why they're all in a thicket, they just are. And despite your main character's new appearance, it doesn't really matter whether it was a male or female Byleth, they don't really gain anything new, anything amazing, which can be kind of a letdown. But the battle will largely play the same way as before. Pick one side, left or right in this case, and stick to it. I know it's tempting to try and sidestep all the advice and try to take both paths on, but look, if you're pressed for time or you're weak, you really only have the luxury to fight on one side. And even now, they don't have amazing items, so you're not really missing out on much. Especially on normal, there will be other opportunities to get experience and money later. So, if you don't need to fight them, don't fight them.
Witness my power.
Now, I happen to have, again, really strong characters, so it doesn't really make a difference whether I take both paths or not. Everyone's largely going to be alright. But if you're not like me, and you didn't play this game repeatedly so that you could farm other interesting treasures, then you're going to want to pick one path, because they will not be able to reach you. Pick one path and stick to it. There is no shame, I repeat, there is no shame in only picking one path. Because if the objective is to only defeat the enemy commander, you are wasting a lot of time and potentially units
Hey, not
just
bad.
trying to,
I will get the victory.
how shall I say, divide your strength just because you think, oh, I want to take on both sides, I want to get everything. There's nothing that valuable in this map that you need to grab everything for. Take your time, it's not a race. Heck, I'm even in a better position to take out someone from here.
You didn't give it your all.
With my flyers than I am just sitting around. Of course, you know, be reasonable with your tactics. Don't just charge just because, oh, I can. Charge because it's better for you to take out, to rush the commander. Don't rush the commander if you haven't taken out enough units or you're aware that they're gonna get into a fight. That's just asking for it. Because no matter how strong your units are, when they're ganged up on, they're significantly weaker. Oh, and look. Ingrid just got hit by a gambit. Even more evidence that I probably shouldn't be charging if I'm not prepared. You thought I was kidding, didn't you? Nope. That warning is true for anybody. In fact, it was so true.
No one makes it past me.
I'm just gonna continue making my way up the side. Ingrid can't even move. And can't even take down a single unit. You know what? You know what? That is just fine. That is just fine.
Witness frigid pride.
Again, like other commanders, Solon will not attack if you're not in his range. The only real strength he has are his magic spells. Banshee, which will restrict your movement speed. Basic Miasma, which any of your Dark Mages will have. And Death, which is probably his worst spell because it will most likely crit you if you're not paying attention. But if you're strong enough to bypass all of that, always check a battle forecast to see whether a move would be wise or not. Just go for it.
I am even though in that to think. But this is not.
And once
It's over.
Solon is dead, and again, because the mission is all about taking down the commander, the moment he's down, game is over. You have won. Well, that is the Sealed Forest Snare walkthrough in a nutshell. Again, this is just pick one path, rush it, use the power of numbers to totally decimate a side, and then reach the commander. The commanders will be tricky, but I mean, with enough healing, with enough backup, and well-placed gambits, they won't ever pose a threat. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you like this walkthrough, please do subscribe. There'll be more videos like this in the future. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you next time.